The 1st of September 2023, you're very welcome back to Read True Education and Not Fake News. In 1963, there was the Cuban Missile Crisis, which the Kennedy administration in America blocked the Soviet Union from placing nuclear missiles in Cuba. And there was talk of there being a nuclear war, and there was a lot of talk and a lot of advice about how to protect oneself in Ireland from nuclear war. And that included possibly even building underground bunkers where you could, how to shore up your windows to keep out nuclear radiation, and all of that. And there was a good deal of scare around. A lot of people took it with a grain of salt, but it was taken relatively serious. Sometime in the early 19 or late, let's say it was about 1995, for some reason the Irish government distributed iodine tablets, which I believe you can take if you're affected by nuclear fallout. I don't know what function it plays, but I had them in the press for a while and they were dumped out eventually. Anyway, I'd say they'd be past their sell-by date now anyway. But now we have a crisis with Ukraine, and there's nothing about how we could do that at all. There is less alarm in Dublin, in the Irish government and the British government, over the prospect of an atomic bomb being dropped than there is about climate change. That's the reality. They're up the wall about the weather, and they don't care, or don't seem to understand the dangers of a nuclear war. Now, the thing about it is that Russia apparently carried out exercises around Ireland, the northwest coast, before it invaded Ukraine, and there was some evidence that it did not understand that the Republic of Ireland is a separate entity legally and politically from Northern Ireland, and that Ireland South is not under the jurisdiction of the United Kingdom. Now, I know people tune in and say, sure, America's running the whole thing and all of that, but I'm just technically talking. So we know that Britain is one of the most heavily nuclearized ballistic missile, defense systems and everything else in the world. And it's only across the water from us. And so this is a real nuclear threat. Now, I have just seen an interview between Tucker Carlton, the American chat show host. He's a conservative. He was sacked from Fox News recently, and Viktor Oban, the conservative Prime Minister of Hungary. And he was re-elected recently, and he appears to me to be a very sane, sensible individual. Now, one of the things that he talks about is that his government have told, although his country is a member of NATO, his country has told NATO, the Americans and the EU, that if the pipeline coming from Russia supplying his country with essential fossil fuel gas is damaged by terrorism, that means by America, in the same way that Nord Stream 2 was damaged, he will not take it lying down. Remember, some agent acting on America's instructions, or even America itself, blew up the Nord Stream pipeline. They blew up the two pipelines. Many say it was American with British undersea divers, and that is the most likely scenario. Some say there was a Ukraine involvement. It could be very slight. They may have had someone on the ship or something like that. It happened on the 26th of September, nearly a year ago, 2022. And it has devastating consequences for the German economy, because there was still gas being supplied by Russia. Not as much, but there was still gas being supplied. So now there's another gas line that comes by land. It's the Southern Corridor, and it comes through land down into Hungary. And now Viktor Oban fears it's going to be bombed, and he's made it clear that he knows Russia will not be involved in the bombing of it or its destruction. That's not going to happen. But he believes the Biden administration is quite likely to do it. If they did it once, they're likely to do it again, And he's told them straight, you try that and you'll not get the same accommodation you did when you did it to the Germans. Now I'm going to post Mr. Oban's video underneath. But he goes on to say about the alarm that exists among his population because Hungary is joining and neighbouring the Ukraine. And he was always on good terms with the Russians, and there was never a problem much between Hungary and the Russians. The Soviet Union did rule Hungary for a while, but in recent years there has been quite a good relationship. And Oban is against all this old cultural Marxist crap, the LGBTQ, excessive health things and nappies on their faces and all that. He's much more sensible. And in the video, he's asked, what is the solution to the Ukraine war? Remember, there's at least 380,000 Ukrainian men dead, and there's a lot of Russians dead. And his answer, I'm going to show it to you now,